Welcome to Detroit. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass. You can drown them. And that's what we gotta be. That's who we have to be. Because that's our domain. That is our domain. Because we'll tread water as long as it takes to fucking bury you.
Takes the snap, turns, gives to Montgomery, right side, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions! Yes.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello everybody, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. So folks, obviously we know that the NFL offseason's coming to a close here pretty quickly. Football is almost back, we're almost getting ready to watch football again, and I'm telling you this right now, for most fans in the NFL, it doesn't matter if you're a Lions fan or not, it's just the wait is killing us. The wait of actually getting ready to watch football again is actually killing us. We can't wait soon enough to actually get ready to watch football again. And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I could talk about all the ways that for football in general, the wait is killing us, but I'm a Lions fan, so obviously I'm going to talk about it from a Lions perspective, a Lions fan perspective. And so that, for me, got the concept of, well, what are the most anticipated games of the 2025 season? What games are we really looking forward to the most? Because now we're not just talking about games in general. We're actually like, okay, this is when we play this team. This is how it's going to break down in the schedule, the whole 9 yards. And so I said, okay, what games are the ones that us Lions fans are really looking forward to the most? Now, I'm going to be honest. Chances are I'm probably going to miss a few from some other fans because I can't speak for everybody. But I think that what I have on my sheet here is probably going to represent or catch about 85 to 90% of most Lions fans. That's my honest opinion. But again, I could be wrong. So without further ado, let's talk about the games that I think that us Lions fans are most anticipated to watch. The ones that we are absolutely, just impatient to get to. Let's start with the number one game, which in my opinion, and I'm going to put this out there, I'm not putting them in the numerical ranking as far as which ones I think are number one, number two, number three. It's just the ones that I came up with in my head. The number one game that I have listed would probably be the Philadelphia Eagles game, which is in Week 11. And the reason why I have this game on here is because, well, let's talk about it from the perspective of last year a little bit. This is the championship game everybody wanted to watch. This is the championship game on the NFC side of things that everybody was anticipating, was expecting to happen. Because the Lions had the best record, they were tied for the best record last year in the whole NFL. And the Philadelphia Eagles were considered one of the best teams opposite of the Lions in the NFC. And it looked like for virtually the entire year that at some point those two teams were going to meet. At some point the Lions and the Eagles were going to play each other and it was going to be in the postseason. We just didn't know at what point. We knew it was going to be in the division round or later. But obviously that did not happen. There's no reason to go over that. We didn't get past the divisional round. We lost to the Commanders. But again, that is the championship game that everybody was expecting. That is the championship game that everybody was wanting. And this game this year in Week 11 against the Eagles now, that's going to be the game to prove who honestly is the best team in the NFC, because we didn't get a chance to see that last year. That was a game that we were denied the opportunity of actually being able to see. And so at Week 11, that's going to be right smack dab at the middle of the season. And it's going to be like, okay, both these teams should be in midseason form. Both these teams should be ready to rock and roll. This is going to be a great matchup. And on top of that, it's also a primetime game. Primetime games are always the better ones because it's like, okay, you're getting the best that the team has to offer. These teams, like I said, are in mid-season form. This is a game that everybody was expecting to see last year. So again, it's going to be a highly anticipated, highly regarded game as far as, okay, this game has a lot of implications. This game has a lot of things that can bear into it for what we're going to see for the rest of the year. And then plus on top of that, it also has the potential of being an early postseason matchup as well, because Again, in my honest opinion, it would not at all surprise me that if the Eagles and the Lions play in the regular season, they could also face each other again in the postseason as well. So there's that. Now, game number 2. I'm going to tell you this right now. It's the Chicago Bears. And it's the Week 2 Chicago Bears matchup, which thank God we get to play the Chicago Bears early this year, because I'm telling you this right now, I think the schedule makers already knew that Lions fans were looking forward to being able to play the Bears this year, and it's for one simple reason. It's time for the Lions to get some much-needed validation, much-needed, vindication against Ben Johnson. Again, Ben Johnson has become public enemy number 1 here in Detroit because of the fact that he decided to leave the Detroit Lions for the Chicago Bears. I'm going to tell you this right now. If Ben Johnson had left to go just about anywhere else in the entirety of the NFL, this wouldn't be nearly as bad. But the fact of all the teams he chose to go to was the Chicago Bears, it's like, okay, not only did you decide to leave us when the work was not done, but you decided to leave us for a division rival and one of our most hated division rivals. Again, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Between the Bears and the Packers, it's like 1A, 1B. More people dislike the Packers than the Bears, but the Bears are still up there. So having the ability to play against Ben Johnson and the Bears, and the fact that Ben Johnson, that'll be his first game back in Detroit, which is week 2, it's going to be like, okay, this is just a perfect setup to be able to say, okay, we have some interdivision rivalry that has now taken itself to the next level. And again, all that's going to come into a culmination of the fact of, okay, Ben Johnson versus Jared Goff, who was really more the reason why the Lions offense was the way it was. You're also going to have the conversation and the narrative of Ben Johnson versus, Dan Campbell. Again, it's the Ben Johnson game is really what it's going to come down to. There's really no other way to put it. If you're being honest with yourself, the reason why this game is so highly anticipated for Lions fans is because of Ben Johnson. That's why this game gets a high ranking in my ability, because it's like, hey, we already know why a lot of Lions fans are looking forward to this game. And it's no shocker, it's no surprise, it's because of Ben Johnson. So that's the reason why I also have this as one of my most anticipated games of 2025. The next game that I have as one of the most anticipated, there's no way I could make this list if I didn't have this game on here, and that would be the Washington Commanders, which is in Week 10. Again, much of the same concept applies that I was talking about with the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, this game is going to be in the middle of the season, so both teams are going to be in mid-season form. They're going to be at full go. Number 2, which is not similar to the Eagles, is this is a game that we did have last year. This is a playoff rematch from the division round game. So this game is going to be important because I'm going to tell you this right now. If the Lions are healthy, or even close to fully healthy, this is going to be a completely different game than what we saw against the Commanders last year. It's going to be completely different. And I understand some people are going to be like, because I don't remember, I'm wondering if the Commanders game is on the road or at home. I'm pretty confident it's on the road. But either way, the point of the matter is that I'm looking at this game and it's like, okay, if the Lions are healthy, if they're ready to rock and roll, this game is going to be a completely different matchup. This is going to be a completely different game than what we saw in the actual playoffs last year. And again, just like I said with the Eagles, it's a playoff game. It's an early playoff game because there's a good chance that we might also have to play the Commanders in the postseason this year as well. And plus on top of that, well, it's a revenge matchup. Again, we've seen this happen a couple of times over the last couple of years, whether it was with the Cowboys, whether it was with the Seahawks. Whenever we get ready to play against a team that we lost the previous year before or a couple of years before, it's always a revenge matchup. It's always a game where it's like, okay, we're out to get some payback, we're out to get some revenge, we're out to get some vindication for what happened the last time we played you clowns. And that is exactly what I know a lot of Lions fans are looking forward to with this game, because it's like, okay, we lost 45-31 against the Commanders. It's time to get some payback. It's time to right some wrongs. So yes, the Washington Commanders are definitely one of our most anticipated games. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. The next game that I have on my list is the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this game is kind of an interesting one because the last time that we played the Chiefs, we beat them. We beat them in the season opener of 2023. I think we beat them, 21-20 or something like that. I could be wrong, but it was a very close matchup. It was a very close game. It was a very good game. But this game is in week 6. So, again, we're kind of going to be getting into that mid-season point once again. We're not going to be quite there just yet, but we're getting close to it. But again, the reason why this game is highly anticipated is because, well, one, the Kansas City Chiefs went to the Super Bowl last year, so at least based off of last year's thought process, it'll be the best of the AFC versus the Lions, who are considered one of the best teams in the NFC. So you're going to have the best of two conferences going at it, number one. Number two, it's again going to be another primetime game, so it's a primetime bout. And then, on top of that, number three, it's going to be Act 3 of Goff versus Mahomes. It'll be the third time that these quarterbacks have gone up against each other. They went up against each other one time when Goff was with the Rams, and obviously there was that game that I was just talking about in the season opener of 2023. So it'll be the third time that these two quarterbacks have gone up against each other. And just to set it out there, Goff has beaten Mahomes the last two times they've played. So again, it's about the quarterbacks. It's about the fact that, hey, it's the best of the AFC versus one of the best of the NFC. It's a primetime bout. So again, all that narrative is already built into the game. It's going to be a very exciting game. It's going to be a very highly anticipated game for a lot of Lions fans and honestly for a lot of NFL fans. That then brings us to the next one, which is the Baltimore Ravens game. And again, the Baltimore Ravens game happens early. It happens in week 3, if I recall correctly. And again, this is another one of those games that falls very much into what the Kansas City Chiefs game is. It's an intra-conference, clash between two of the best teams because obviously the Ravens are from the AFC, the Lions are from the NFC. Plus, on top of that, you could also call this a revenge game for the Lions because, well, the last time the Lions played against the Ravens in 2023, we got our asses handed to us. We got our asses handed to us in epic fashion. I think we lost 38-6. One of the worst losses that the Lions have had ever since Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have been here. So it's like, okay, yeah, we definitely need to come out and we definitely need to play a lot better. If not, actually get the win. This, again, I've said it before. The Baltimore Ravens are one of the toughest teams that we're going to have to play this year because they're a really damn good team, and we don't really get to play them a whole lot. So this is definitely one of those games where it's like, hey, we're going up against one of the best teams in the NFL and in the AFC, and so it's like, okay, this is a game where for the Lions, it's like, hey, you definitely need to put your best foot forward. You definitely need to find a way to win this game to definitely validate the claims that we believe we can go to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. And again, on top of that, much like what I would say with the Kansas City Chiefs, it's a potential early Super Bowl matchup because, again, as long as the Chiefs have Mahomes, they can potentially go to another Super Bowl. I don't think they have as much of a shot this year because their team is getting older. They didn't do a whole lot to replace a lot of the talent they've been losing or has been getting older this year. But as long as Mahomes is still with the Chiefs, they can still get to a Super Bowl. And the same thing applies with the Ravens. The Ravens are a team that, they can get to a Super Bowl, but the biggest knock on the Ravens has been, okay, are you really going to be able to get to a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson as your quarterback? Because whenever Lamar Jackson gets into the postseason, it's like he turns into kryptonite. And it's like, okay, it just doesn't seem to work. But again, it's still a potential early Super Bowl matchup. And then the other thing I can say about this that's also kind of anticipated is that you're going to have dueling quarterback philosophies. Again, you have Jared Goff, who's the pocket passer. You got the guy who's the game manager. You got the guy who's extremely efficient versus Lamar Jackson, who is not a pocket passer. He's very flashy. He's very TV friendly, as I would like to call it. He's very entertaining. So it's like, okay, you've got two dueling quarterback philosophies here. So again, very highly anticipated game in that regard as well. And then that brings me to my final game that I think is the most anticipated game of the 2025 season, which is the Los Angeles Rams game, which again, I believe that is like week 12 or week 13, somewhere around there. But the reason why this game is a highly anticipated one is because, one, Goff is returning to LA. It's the second time he'll be going back to LA since the trade, as far as actually, going to LA Rams Stadium. And then on top of that, it's going to be the fourth time that the Lions are going up against their former quarterback in Matthew Stafford. So it's Goff versus Stafford, Act 4. It's also Goff versus McVay, Act 4. Because think about it. We played them in 2021. That game we lost. But then we've also played them in 2023. We played them in 2024. So it's like, okay, the Lions and the Rams have been playing each other quite a bit over the last couple of years. And again, there's no reason to misinterpret why that's going on. As long as, Goff is still playing, as long as McVay is still coaching, and as long as Stafford is still playing, chances are that is going to continue to be a matchup that we're going to continue to see on the NFL schedules for quite a bit. But then on top of that, other than the constant back and forth between Goff and Stafford, Goff and McVay, Goff going back to LA, it's again, also, just like I said with the Commanders, just like I said with the Eagles, it's a potential early postseason matchup. Because again, the Eagles, the Commanders, the Rams, these are teams that everybody's anticipating, everybody's expecting are going to have a shot to go back to the postseason this year. So again, it would not at all surprise me that that's why those games are considered highly anticipated. Now, I'm going to say this. I know some people are like, well, David, what about the Vikings? What about the Packers? I'm not really all that excited about the Vikings game this year because it's like, until I really see much out of J.J. McCarthy, I really don't know what to expect from the Vikings. J.J. McCarthy is a guy that it's like, listen, we didn't see him at all last year because of the torn meniscus in his knee, number one. But also, number two, I can't get excited for a matchup when it's like, listen, I really don't believe that J.J. McCarthy is going to make a difference in a way that it's going to impact the game that much. But we'll again see if I'm right or wrong. Now, when it comes to the Packers, it's like, yeah, the Packers are always going to be a good team. They're always going to be a team that's going to be a potential thorn in our paw. But the thing about it is that for me, it's like, okay, we've beaten the Packers several times over the last couple of years, whether we've been in Lambeau or whether we've been at home. So it's like the anticipation factor is not as high, though it is an anticipated game for me, but it's not as high as these other games like the Eagles, the Bears, Commanders, Chiefs, Ravens, Rams, whatever have you, because it's like it's kind of lost a little bit of that anticipation factor because it's like, yeah, the last couple of years, we've been beating them. And don't get me wrong, I love beating the Packers. But if you're going to ask me which game am I more excited about or which game I have more of an anticipation for, it's going to be these games versus the Packers games. And that's not to say I'm taking it for granted. I do expect that it's going to be a good game. I do expect that the Lions are still going to have to play a good football game. But compared to these other matchups, it just doesn't have the same anticipation level as the other ones that I've mentioned. So I know that's going to be some of the things that people are going to be like, well, what about this? What about that? Those are my reasons why I don't have those games on there. They're still going to be good games, but compared to the other ones that I've mentioned specifically, not as highly anticipated, not as highly, enjoyable or entertainable to watch. But anyway, folks, this is my list of most anticipated games of the 2025 season. I'm pretty sure most of you will agree with them. Some of you might disagree with a game here or there, or some of you might think that I should have included other ones, like I said, the Vikings or the Packers, but we'll see what you all have to say. You guys always do. Again, all I ask is you just keep it respectful. So, having said that, I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage you all to watch the next episode. But I also want to say this. If you enjoyed what you're watching and if you enjoyed the content, please, by all means, subscribe. I also want to encourage you all to make sure you hit that bell notification icon so that you guys never miss any more content. Hope you all are having a great day. Hope you all got something in life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.